Five Nights at Candy's, a classic that you probably already know. I was debating for a long time doing all three games in one of the Friday videos or doing them separately in videos like this, and I think I settled on doing them separately. Well, I know I settled on it since that's what I'm doing, but I feel very differently about the three games, so I figured it made the most sense to do it this way. So this week we're taking a look at the remastered version of Five Nights at Candy's. Welcome to Horror Derves, a bite-sized review series for bite-sized games. Some games are great, but they're also very short, so I have less to say about them. But that's fine, I still love them anyway. So that's why I created this series, to go over those short indie horror titles and tell you in a spoiler-free way what it is, what it looks like, what it sounds like, is it scary, and should you play it. But most of these are free and short, so you should probably play them anyway. Before we get in too deep, hey, I'm Rytoast. I stream on Twitch and I upload videos here, and it would mean the world to me if you left me a like or a subscribe because, oh boy, I'm just starting out. Five Nights at Candy's is a pretty bog-standard FNAF fan game, on the surface. The gameplay even works similar to FNAF 1, where you're a night guard in a security office with nothing but cameras, a door, and some sort of night vision to protect yourself. We play as Mary Schmidt, a longtime fan of the Candy's franchise, who was traumatized when she was little. There was an incident with her brother at the old Rat and Cat theater restaurant. The animatronics we're up against in this one all have different roles to play throughout the nights. Candy and Cindy the cat approach either side of your office, akin to Bonnie and Chica in FNAF 1. Night 2 introduces Chester the chimpanzee, who does the same thing like the other two. We also are introduced to the best thing ever created in the history of fan games, maybe even games in general. The Penguin. Look at this little man, he's very nice, he's a sweet man, and everybody should love him. He also more or less functions like Balloon Boy. Night 3 introduces one of the scariest things I've ever seen, Blank the animatronic. This creepy looking thing is supposed to be something that the kids can draw on with crayon. He's essentially this game's Foxy, who will run directly at the player through this window in their office, and the player needs to shut them out with this blocker. All of this would have you believe that this is just FNAF 1, but let me remind you, we're only on night 3. The game ramps up from there, with the introduction of the rat and the cat, also known as Old Candy, but the rat and the cat sounds right. These motherfuckers are Bonnie and Chica on steroids. They come up to your doors and you have a fraction of a second to catch them before it's too late. There's also one more animatronic that I can't get into because of spoilers, but let's just say the secret boss fight in this game is one of the most tense moments in any fan game I've ever seen. But let's get into the technicals. As you've seen, this game looks amazing. Technically, it is a remaster, but I'm judging the remaster here because while you probably should play the original, the remaster is just the original but more, so probably just play the remaster. But in the remaster, they did this game very well, adding said secret I was just talking about and redoing all of the graphics and most of the coding. One of the things I really love about this game is the fact that you can switch on night vision. In the game proper, it's not really that helpful, it just kind of helps you get your bearings like most FNAF games, but you don't really have to use the cameras as the nights go on. But because they added this night vision feature, there's a way to see most animatronics without it on because it's so dark. Glowing eyes. Glowing eyes in the doorways, glowing eyes in cameras. It's incredibly unsettling, especially if you're not sure who's attacking you at the moment. You just know somebody's out there. If you already see eyes, it's probably too late. As far as sound goes, it's definitely above average. It gets the job done, but it's just kind of normal sound design. There's nothing too crazy, but it doesn't need to be. But is this game scary? Yes. Let me just show you something. This is one of the scariest things I've ever encountered in a fan game. Now, this isn't really a spoiler, but if you want the true experience, skip to here. One safe place in every horror game I've ever played is the main menu. Maybe sometimes if you linger long enough, something scary will happen, but for the most part, the main menu is your safe haven. So, with that being said, let's go through the character gallery. It's a really nice feature. I wish more fan games and games in general included it. We can go through and look at all the models. Oh, look at that penguin. He's sweet. Just go through and look at all the... Yeah, that's terrifying. The music stops and the rat just stares at you. Also, not a spoiler, but just a hint, this is how you access the secret night. I'm not going to tell you how, but just study him. You'll find it. But besides that neat menu thing, the game itself is scary. As I mentioned, the glowing eyes is a really good effect, and a lot of the jump scares are really well done. I love the animatronic designs, in particular the old models in Blank. It's very reminiscent of FNAF 2, where the main cast is upsetting, but just a little creepy. Whereas the old cast is where the real, scary shit comes in. But should you play it? Yeah. It's Five Nights at... Of course you should play it. I mean, again, this is one of my favorite fan games, and I promise this series isn't just going to be really good FNAF fan games I've played. I do want to get some traction for this series, and this is one of the ways to do it. Well-known, well-respected FNAF fan games. I want to cover all kinds of indie horror. but like this is what gets the views in the beginnings of things like this. And on the bright side, for the first 2 games I've covered, they've earned that respect. This game is great. It stood the test of time. It was great when it first came out. The second and third games are... we'll talk about them. But the remaster for the first one was even better, and it teased a 4th one, so obviously people like it, and it's for good reason. I highly, highly recommend checking this game out. But that's what I think. You should tell me what you think down below. And if you like videos like this, go ahead and just punch that like button. It would really help me. And if you want to see more videos from me in particular, there's a little thing on that little red subscribe button. You can just give that a little tickle. Anyways, shout out to my favorite patron, Emberisk, and until next time, stay toasty.